We're live, and I just got a live update. Ashlynn Shade just hit another 3. Yeah, they're locked on UConn.
You are Locked On UConn, your daily podcast on the UConn Huskies, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Thanks for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Before we dive into today's show, I just want to say thank you to you and anyone that's listening to the show. We're thankful for all of you. If you're listening live or you're listening to the recorded show, this podcast has grown so much in the last 9 months and coming up on 10 months. And it's because, pardon me, of fans like you who value great UConn content. Special shout out to my everydayers. We're proud to say we're the only basketball or the only daily podcast covering both UConn men's and women's basketball, the basketball capital of the world. And we're thrilled to bring you that coverage that you deserve. So to show that gratitude, we're donating 10% of our revenue to Husky Ticket Project, sending kids, underserved kids from my neck of the woods in Meriden, Connecticut to all over the state to men's and women's basketball and football games, baseball games, etc. We're also making monthly donations to Bleeding Blue for Good, supporting NIL. And I feel like that's making a difference. Sorry, having some indigestion issues. If you're enjoying the show, take a moment to subscribe, follow, and leave a review wherever you listen. Thanks again for making Locked On UConn your first listen every day. You can start the season with a big return with FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet and get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com to get started. Oh, my God. UConn rolls 101-68 against Iowa State. They were overmatched pretty much from the start. It started off a little promising for Iowa State because they were using Audie Crooks to kind of bully Ice down low because she's so big and she takes up so much space. But then this is a term that Fox used. Then the Atomic Dogs popped in, right? Ashlynn Shade. We're going to get to her in a second, but what an overall night at Mohegan Sun. They dominated and dismantled Iowa State 101-68 in a game that felt over right after the first quarter. Ashlynn Shade stole the show, pouring in an eye-popping 20 points in the first quarter. Just that alone is crazy. With threes raining down from the Wolf Den. If you know Mohegan Sun, you know where the Wolf Den is. That's what it felt like. Sarah Strong backed her up with a dominant 29.9 rebound performance, while Paige Bueckers added her own 27 points on 10 of 15 shooting. I don't think just those three players alone with 27, 29, and 20. I'm not a math guy, but if we're doing some quick math, 27 plus 29 is what? 56 plus 20 is 76. And they would have won by 8 points. So just with those three players, and not to dismiss Iowa State, but that was a clinic. The Huskies shot an absurd 58.8% from three. Moved the ball beautifully, 27 assists. Overwhelmed the Cyclones defensively. The energy, the attention to detail was there. It does help when you're shooting well and you can kind of keep it going. But, man, what a difference. I know the level of competition is probably a little bit less than Notre Dame, so please save your comments about that. But what I will say is the fact that they essentially said, okay, if Audie Crooks is going to score, but we're not going to let others, as is always a great combination from a coaching staff, to not essentially let the star score, but not to make such an emphasis on stopping them that you allow other people to get off. So Audie Crooks had 22 points. It was a tough 22. The Cyclones simply couldn't keep pace with the shooting. Kind of a historic night, really. A record 23s for UConn. I think UConn reminded everyone tonight why they're a championship level contender. If they shoot like that against anybody, they win the game. I know that's the most simplistic take you could probably make. 20 of 34 from three is unheard of. Also, it made, I don't remember her name because I didn't catch it, but the Fox sports analyst, the color analyst, who said, when the threes start to fade, did they? Oh, man, tired. 10:30, getting old. No, I mean, that's why I said if you shoot 40 threes in a game, or 35 or 40 threes in a game, and you make 40% of them, you're going to win most of those games. It's almost impossible, especially against a team like Iowa State that relies so much on one player and has been shooting poorly. So everyone reminded, I think these players announced to the college basketball world that they're for real, that the Notre Dame game was a blip on the radar screen. I was thoroughly impressed. Let's see if we have any comments 5 minutes in. Yeah. I love that. Definitely from the den, man. They set the UConn 3-point record. Absolutely. Is Michael, is this your daughter that you're talking about a shout out, or am I? Oh, you're talking about the Fox News analyst, Chrissy Winter Scott. Is that her name? Probably right. Hit me up in the comments. But anyway, yeah, Paul, I was super excited for Ashlynn because I know she was disappointed. She literally has a homecoming to Notre Dame, and I guarantee you that she wanted to show out in front of a home crowd. And she just played awful. And tonight, she more than made up for it. And I just hope they have enough for USC. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that. Thanks for clearing that up. I don't mean to confuse it. There's a gentleman that watches the show that his daughter got a scholarship to play basketball, and he was asking me to shout her out. But yes, Timothy, I'm with you. 1,000%. They need to do this against USC, but also you can kind of implore the same type of mentality. I know USC is much more talented, but if you can keep the scoring to essentially Juju, and she's a volume shooter, then I think then the USC game could be a similar type of affair. I think it'll be closer, obviously, but yeah. How about let's just look at some of the numbers. Okay. Ashlynn Shade, silly start. She was 7 of 10 from 3 overall, finished with 27 points. They were up 36-10 in the first quarter. I thought the energy and the confidence on offense was contagious, and that's what made the defense even get more aggressive. And I give Ice Brady some really good credit. I asked her to be more aggressive, and she was. She picked off a few passes that were, instead of laying back and let Audie Crooks kind of push her back, she essentially, took it to her a little bit and got a couple steals. I wonder let's look at how many she had. I'll find out more tomorrow, Timothy, but I think AZ she was in sweats today and kind of, let me look. I think she participated in warmups, but I could be wrong. I always get my updates from my girls in the beat report with Maggie and Emily, and I'm pretty sure they mentioned, let's see. Let's look at Emily Adams' Twitter really quick and see what she had to say about the beginning of the game. It's hard because she probably tweeted throughout it. Let's see. I know it sucks about Ayanna Patterson. We'll get to that in a little bit here, but it looks like no AZ fun again for UConn versus Iowa State. Aubrey Griffin warming up as usual, so things still looking good for her projected January return. I don't know. I don't know if AZ is going to play against USC. I think the fact that it's on a Saturday and we're on Tuesday bodes decent that she could potentially give you 10, 12 minutes. But I also don't think they want to push it, man. Like, if they lose to USC with no AZ, is that really going to be a big deal when it comes? If this team looks this good now, and then you get AZ fully healthy, then we have something. Then we got something. Then we're cooking with gas. But I don't want to rush her for a regular season game. I know it's important for seeding, but let's face it, guys. Whether they get a 2 seed or a 1 seed, this team's, barring something crazy, is going to the Final Four. Whether they can win a title is really kind of what we're all thinking about, right? All right, real quick. Let me take a break, and then we're going to talk about Paige and Sarah, incredible nights as well. And I'll just get to this one ad, and then we'll come back. All right, guys. It's that time of year, the college football playoff. I don't know if anyone's into it, but I'm excited. The newly expanded 12-team format, it's guaranteed to be bigger and better than ever, bringing all the hard-hitting, high-flying excitement that you love. TNT Sports coverage of the college football playoff begins December 21st, starting with college football playoff kickoff shows presented by AT&T at 11 a.m. Eastern, leading into the first matchup with the SMU Mustangs of the ACC battling the Penn State Nittany Lions of the Big Ten at noon. Then the Clemson Tigers, also of the ACCs, look to upset the SEC regular season champion. Maybe not. I think Georgia won. Texas Longhorns in a showdown at 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss a moment of the action. Watch the college football playoff presented by Allstate live on TNT, True TV, TBS, and Max. And you're back on Locked On UConn. Let's see. Yeah, I think you're right, Michael. She was, and again, fingers crossed, no rushing. Let's get her back full strength. Let's talk about Paige. Paige again. I always think about her as she's like the Academy Award picture that doesn't get enough credit, but is fantastic cinematography, well written. The direction is beautiful. The acting is fantastic, but it doesn't do the blockbuster numbers that like a Marvel movie makes. But it's appreciated by anyone that loves film, right? She's the basketball player's connoisseur, a basketball player connoisseur that if you love the game, you love watching Paige play. If you want her to quote unquote take over like a Caitlin Clark or be a volume shooter like Hannah Hidalgo, she's never going to be that. It's like the same comparisons when people in the NBA would compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. You just don't. Like, they're not the same. They're just not the same player, not the same era. We're in an era right now where efficiency matters to people. How you play, playing the right way, in quotations, according to how they were taught, they were brought up. Gino loves that efficiency. I don't feel like, even though he's calling for being aggressive, 15 shots tonight, the fact that Sarah shot 3 more shots than Paige is good. Sarah's a similar player to Paige, but she has a little more, what's the word, like dog or alpha in her, because she just goes ham sometimes. I mean, she had 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Silly. Paige was essentially just a scorer tonight. She had 27, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. That's it. But she still shot 10 of 15 from the floor, 5 of 7 from 3. Stupid. Everyone shot well. Sarah was 5 of 9, missed 1 free throw. It's just like I don't think we even had, like, the only people that shot poorly were Jenna Elfie was 1 of 4. She continues to struggle. She had 9 rebounds, which is a great thing for her, because if all she does is rebound and play defense, we're in great shape. If she starts finishing at the rim, then this team is going to take another level, take a step forward. She played 19 minutes. Morgan Shelley gave you 12 minutes off the bench. She continues to look pretty good, although she did have 5 fouls in 12 minutes, which I thought was a random funny stat. Ali Zabal, who I said would make a contribution tonight, she did. She had 6 minutes, hit a 3, 1 of 2. So maybe that's looking up. Yeah, I mean, listen, I just don't understand people that get frustrated with people's playing styles. I was a professional tennis player. I played tennis in college. Then I played a couple years in the pros, lower level. Don't think like no Wimbledon, no French Open, stuff like that. And it's just like it's like anything, like whether it's tennis, boxing, basketball, anything you play at a high level, styles are different. I was more of a all around type player. I'm like 5'11". I'm not particularly tall, so I don't have a big serve, but I really try to focus on people's weaknesses and exploit them. Paige is kind of like a cerebral athlete. She tries to use her pace. She doesn't go too fast. She doesn't go too slow. She shoots only when she's open or when she feels like it's necessary. She's always trying to find the perfect play. And what I felt like tonight was that the team played better because they looked like they were hunting for quality threes and quality efficient shots. If you think about the metrics in the advanced analytics of basketball today, either women's or men's, pro or European style, the best teams right now are the ones that run good offense, but that shoot a ton of threes, but they do so in what would be considered hotspots. So their programs or their teams essentially highlight where they shoot the ball the best. And if you notice sometimes, even if a person is open, they may not shoot it right away because maybe that's just been drilled in their head that they're not a great shooter from that spot because they're only like a 20% shooter there. But if you get it at the top of the key, all of a sudden that jumps up to 60%. So these are the type of things that all great basketball programs and organizations are doing for players. They've shown them the advanced analytics. They show them where they're best at. And so that gets all thrown out the window when you have a player like Caitlin Clark last year who's shooting the ball as soon as she gets over half court. Cool. It's fun. I'll admit it. It's pretty wild to see. It reminds me of Steph Curry coming into the NBA, right? Or what he did at Davidson. But you know the difference between the same thing about Caitlin and Steph Curry in college, they didn't win championships. They made nice runs, but they never won a title. And Paige is the type of player, if she wasn't injured, I think she would have had a couple titles by now, at least one. And I think she's really trying to make sure this team is complete so that she can finish this run with UConn, hoisting that 12th national championship. Right. That's awesome. Listen, I know this is a live UConn women's reaction show. I love Andre Jackson. I hope he's winning in, I think, the NBA Cup finalist tonight. That's awesome. Hope he's doing great. Steph Castle's the betting favorite for Rookie of the Year. A lot of UConn love out there. The only people that mock Paige's game or YouTube of the game of the YouTube is people like that, but the real analysts know that they just like you know. Listen, Michael, I don't pretend to be an expert. I've been blessed with being around a lot of very keen and fun basketball minds. Like, think about it. I was a tennis player, but you know what I always used to do when I would coach? I would think of like a basketball court because of how you cover it and like how you can't always get to everything. And it was always about like how I would, make up for ground and things of that nature. So, basketball has always been in here no matter what. Like no matter what sport I played, I think of how I played zone, how I played man-to-man, how you ran a motion offense. All of it is like the processing of that. If you were at Mohegan Sun tonight, let me know because I want to know if anyone placed a bet on roulette and won any money. Did you put it on red 21 or red 16 like I asked you to? If you didn't, you could have won some money. You also could have won some money if you bet on UConn tonight at minus 21.5. Speaking of that, let's take a break, and then we're going to come back and talk about USC next and then close up the night because your boy is tired, and I got to wake up and do this all over again tomorrow. It's your friends at FanDuel. Right now, you can make a big return at FanDuel because new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. What's up, everybody? We're back on Locked On UConn, last segment of the program. Has anyone ever done this? Because I'm experiencing this. My parents used to say this all the time. If I drink coffee too late, I feel like, you feel like you're all, jittery. I drank coffee tonight at 6:15, 6:30. My son was at a Taekwondo thing, and I, stopped into Starbucks and I grabbed one. And when I got home, it's like, oh my God, like I felt like I was bouncing off the wall. So it's great for being alert and, staying up and doing this podcast. But holy crap, I need to tone that down. I haven't done that in a while, and it was wild. So no more coffee past like noon. But anyway, all right. So who didn't play well? There wasn't. Maybe Jana Elfie was, but she also had 9 rebounds. Like, so everyone had a positive, right? So if you're thinking from a coach's perspective, how do you think about this game? There was one lull. You could probably look at it from that perspective when they went up 36-10 in the first quarter. Iowa State, my wife was watching with me, and she said, man, they came back pretty quick because they had that 11-0 run. So Evan Mia would call that a kill shot. He'll be on the program January 9th at noon. So put that on your calendars if you're into the analytic world. But Yeah, I mean, 17 points from Sydney Harris off the bench. She played 25 minutes, had a great game. She shot it well. 6 of 8 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. Again, Audie Crooks was a load. I don't mean that facetiously. She's huge. I don't think I've ever seen a bigger women's basketball player, just all around, from top to bottom. You don't stop her if she gets the ball down low. You just kind of have to hope to contain her. I think they said that about Michael Jordan too, which is pretty wild. But some of these stats, I mean, 56% overall from the field, 58.8% from 3. They out-rebound Iowa State by 9, 27-21 on the defensive side. They had 9 offensive rebounds. That's good to see. Only 3 offensive rebounds, or only, let's see, offensive rebounds. Only 3 offensive rebounds from Iowa State, which is good. Which is a good stat. Love that. +9. Also, assists. 27 assists tonight. Also, Iowa State runs good offense. They just ran into a buzzsaw tonight. They still had 21 assists on 25 field goals, so that's a good stat. 27 assists on 37 field goals. I'm still so impressed by Sarah Strong. I made a comment tonight that you guys will probably laugh at. I think Sarah Strong eventually can become the greatest player of all time. She's on that trajectory. She's a freshman in college. She's 17, 18 years old. Almost 30 points tonight, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a couple steals. You just can't understate how good she is. And it reminds me of when I was a kid and Ray Allen was a player for UConn. And big shock. I'm sure everyone's heard of him. But I used to watch him play and be like, man. And my dad used to remind me, like, just because someone makes it look effortless doesn't mean they didn't make it look effortless because of how much they prepared to get to this point. So it's just all about the play. And that's what Sarah Strong is. She's a pro already. Like right now, think about it. If it was allowed, and I'm not even sure if it is, because I think the WNBA is so, like, it's still in its infancy. It's only been around for 30 plus years. Let me check that, because my brain is like mush right now. All right, let's see. All right, it was founded in 97. So it's, again, I said 30. So 25, 27 years. It's only a 27-year league. If Sarah Strong, after 1 year, I don't want her to, because I want her to play at UConn for 10 years if she could. If she was draft eligible right now, where would she go? Would you take her ahead of Paige, considering Paige's injury history? Would you take her 1 or 2 over Juju or Hannah? Thank you. Appreciate that. But if she was, I don't know why that does that. It's the Mac computer. Would anyone in the comment? No, Chris, shut the hell up, man. Seriously. Stay focused. Focused on what? Am I playing? This is what talking about sports is. It's having a conversation. If you don't like it, get the hell off the stream. I don't care what you think. But seriously, like, if she was draft eligible, she's got to be a top 2 pick right now as a freshman. That's wild. That's crazy to me. She could be on a trajectory to be the best player ever, because what doesn't she do? She shoots it. She's got a great feel for the game. It's only going to get better. So I'm glad I can give you joy. You didn't really rile me up. You're just stupid. Yeah, absolutely. Without a doubt, Jay. Top 5. I mean, I pick her 1. I love Paige. I think Paige is going to be a fantastic pro. She already is. But I'm taking her 1. If Sarah was available for me, the Dallas Wings, number 1 pick in the draft right now. Done. Signed, sealed, delivered. All right, y'all. I love that there was, yeah, I agree. Will in New Haven. Hey, Will in New Haven, what's your favorite pizza? You want to come on the show and talk about it? Here's the link. I miss the New Haven pizza so much. It's just not even. It's just outside of UConn basketball. It's probably the only thing that I miss the most out of Connecticut is living in New Haven and having that pizza. Let me tell you, if you guys want to read anything that I write in my Substack that I just created, it's the Hoops Capital of the World. Check it out on Substack. I can't put the link in here, but if you know what Substack is, if you want to check it out, definitely check that out. It's basically written word podcast, and there's no podcast yet, but there is articles I write about the men's and women's basketball team. Would love it if you guys check that out. It's something that I own for myself, and not just a host on a network. So definitely check that out on Substack. Find me there, and obviously check it out for the foreseeable future. Just started a couple days ago. Man, Pepe's is overrated, right? I'm sorry, man. It's up there. It's still in my top 3, but it's number 3. I go Modern, I go Sally's, and I go Pepe's. If I'm at Mohegan, I'm going to Pepe's though because it's right there. But Modern. If you know, if you're in New Haven and you're on State Street, stop by Modern and get yourself an Italian bomb. I would love for Modern to sponsor this podcast. That'd be great. Absolutely, Jay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go. You guys have been great. I love all the interaction tonight. Really appreciate you. This has been another episode of Locked on UConn. I'm your host, Mark Zanetto, doing this daily after every game, almost after every game. I try my best to get on here. And tonight was a fun one. Beautiful basketball. Go Huskies.